in my mid-20s, I was, like most people in their mid-20s, lost and didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. I dropped out of college, 1 credit shy, because I was cool, and not a good idea. And still, because now it gets worse as the years go on. But so I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I started just doing jobs in New York. And I wanted to be like some kind of artist, but like most people in Brooklyn at the time, we do just the idea of something, but not any. I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. And I lived with like this commune in Williamsburg, pre-hipster weirdos, and it was painter weirdos with different brand. And we just sort of like we painted, but none of us had trained. We didn't know what we were doing. And I just started going, I had like day jobs where I'd bounce around. I was a pizza guy, did this. And I ended up at this place in New York called Kiehl's, which is a skincare store. Yeah, cheer for it. It was great once. It's owned by L'Oreal now. It's mineral. They use bad ingredients. Don't buy it. But they, the French. And so, but back then, they were family-owned mom and pop shop. There was 1 store in the whole country. We did this business, and I was the doorman. I got paid $8 an hour, and I would hold the door open for people and say hello when they came in, and I'd say goodbye when they left, and I could do that. And so that was my job. And then everyone else who worked there were these beautiful people who helped people with skincare, and they wore white lab coats and were faux doctors. And there was beautiful women and beautiful men, and then me, the token white straight male in reverse at the door, holding the door. And I didn't know anything about skincare, and I felt uncomfortable in that environment. And after about 6 months of making $8 an hour, I quit. And the owner of the store, Jamie Morse Van Heidegger, called me at my house and said, "Don't quit. We want to hire you and train you on skincare." And I was like, "I don't know." And she goes, "Look, we really like you, we value you, you get along with everyone, you're great. Come back." And I was like, "No." And she goes, "Look, the starting salary for a skincare person at our store is $96,000 a year. And with bonuses, a membership to Equinox, also because you obviously have no fashion sense. Somebody from work will take you to a store and you'll use my credit card to buy yourself some clothes." And so I was like, okay, because you know what I mean? Like you have principles in art and then money, and like you're at that age where you're like, fuck it. And so I started working there and selling skincare, and I could tell you about exfoliating and you know, that looking at you, you have like an oily T-zone from up here, I could see that. It's okay. And you should probably like use something with a high foaming agent to get rid of the oil, but a light moisturizer with sunscreen during the day, which is very important for everybody. And so I started using cuticle cream and skincare products and everything, and really nice numbing. I could talk for skincare forever, and so tea tree oil is really good for if you have oily scalp. Everyone, that's a big thing that people ask. So there you go. So that's what I did, and then the years went on, and the years went on, and I wasn't doing anything with my life. And finally, I was like, oh, you know, what am I doing? And my roommate, I had a roommate, Colton, who was like, dude, you got the golden handcuffs, man. You ain't doing anything, no art. I was like, yeah, I fucking pay your rent, because I paid the rent for the entire apartment at that time. He's like, yeah, but man, he's like, you got to get those things off. And he's like, call in sick today. I was like, oh man, I don't know. He's like, call in sick and let's have a day. So I said, okay. So I called in sick, and by noon, we had drank a bottle of scotch in Central Park. By 1, we went to a place in Williamsburg called Cokies. I don't know if anyone knows it. It was a place called Cokies that sold cocaine, and it was called fucking Cokies with a K. Like, the cops would walk by and be like, you think? Nah. Like, couldn't be. They wouldn't be that stupid, but they were. And so I did cocaine for the first time, which was a couple of years down the road. But that was the first day I did coke. And then it progressed and progressed until eventually I called up Kiehl's and quit my job over the phone, told them to go fuck themselves, that I didn't need them anymore. And then I decided I wanted to call a prostitute. Because I had just broken up with this girl. I had a lot of problem with the ladies back. There's no end to that sentence. I had a lot of, just a ramp down. And so, but at Kiehl's, every once in a while I'd hook up with people because they were like, I don't have game, you know, but when there's like a broken, like when somebody was having a bad, like if there's a broken girl, like then give me the ball. I can hit, I got this shot. And so I can do that. And so I would date these girls when they were like heartbroken about somebody they cared about, and then they'd see me and move on. But I was in between that, and so the idea of a prostitute, and I got this prostitute came over, and you expect a certain thing when you call your first prostitute, like, cause it's like a Chinese food list of like a menu of like, oh, and it's like, it's really, and I called, and this woman came over, and I expect her to be really sexy and slutty, and I don't like that, and she came over, and I can say this, she looked exactly like Meryl Streep in Deer Hunter, which was like the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my entire life. And I was with her, and there was her driver bouncer came in with her with a credit card machine, like it was old school. And because this is years ago, and he was doing that, and I started to like get undressed. I didn't know what to do. I was so uncomfortable, and my friend Colton just walked in and sort of like was out getting more coke. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Dude, you've gone too far." I was like, "What are you talking about? You started this whole thing." He's like, "You fucking have gone too fucking crazy. You can't. That's your sex trade. Like this is bad. Like you can't. This is objectifying women." I was like, "Come on, man. She's clearly fine with it," and she just smiled. And then Colton went in his room and got a boombox and played Bob Dylan singing House of the Rising Sun, which I don't know if that song's about a hooker, but something about that song at that moment. And he just stood there like the opposite of John Cusack. Like whatever the opposite of a romantic comedy is, that was what was happening. And he just stood there and he was like, and I looked at him and then he looked at me and I just started to cry and Colton started to cry. And the bouncer dude was just like, and the woman was like, "Oh man, this is all over." And she refunded my credit card, best customer service ever, and then went home. But,